students. I am Supriya, your chemistry mentor. So, today we are going to discuss some important questions related to D block elements. Okay, so this is the first part of D block elements. So, I am going to take the questions based on introductory part of D block elements. So, let us start from the first question. The statement that is incorrect for the periodic classification of elements is. So this is in general for periodic classification, taking the entire periodic table. The first ionization energies of elements along a period do not vary in a regular manner with increase in atomic number. See, they are asking us which is incorrect, right? So here it says do not vary in regular manner. That is true. In between you will get some D block elements. So in that case there will be a irregular manner, right? So this statement is true. Then the properties of elements are the periodic functions of their atomic numbers. So this is the periodic law we have for the modern periodic table, which is true. Metallic elements are more in number than non-metallic. Of course, we have metals in S block, D block and also F block, also some in P block, but non-metals are very less. Next, the last one, for D block elements, the D subshells are filled monotonically with electrons along the period. Monotonically means continuously, like 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. It should go on increasing. Okay, but we know that we have some exceptions, right? If you look at 3D elements, in that you have exception for chromium and copper, and in 4D and 5D there are more exceptions. Okay, so it is not filled monotonically. That's why this is incorrect. Then next one, for transition elements, the valence shell electronic configuration is. So that means the general electronic configuration. So whenever you write any particular electronic configuration, you know that you will have ns orbitals and n-1 d orbitals, right? So it is ns 0 to 2 and n-1 d 1 to 10. Sometimes we also write ns 1 to 2 and n-1 d 1 to 10, or while writing the configuration we can write d first, that is this one, and then ns 1 to 2 or 0 to 2. Okay, all these are actually proper. That means here while filling you are filling ns first, but while writing you can write n-1 d first. That is one thing. And usually it is 1 to 2, but it is given here 0 to 2. That is also correct, because for some elements in 4D 5D, especially if you look at the configuration of palladium, so in that case you will get 0 electrons in ns. Okay, so that is also D block, so you need to consider that. That's why it is given 0 to 2. Next, which among the following electronic configuration indicates a D block element? Okay, that means already we discussed the general electronic configuration. So based on that, you have to tell which is D block element here. So if you look at the first option, you have xenon, that is the inert gas. Then 5D1 6s2. See, this is n, this is n-1. Right, we should have n-1d and then ns. So this itself is a D block element. Whereas in B you have last one in p orbital, then here you have s orbital, here also you have s orbital. So that is not a D block element. Then the given electronic configuration shown in the figure has violated. So this is again in general. So this comes in your basic topics like structure of atom or periodic classification. So if you look at the configuration here, 2p4 is written this way. Actually we have to singly fill the electrons first and then we have to pair it. So it violates Hund's rule. So that is option C. Yeah, next. Which elements are not regarded as transition metals? See, here the definition of transition metal says the d orbital should be partially filled. Okay, this should be partially filled in its atomic state or ionic state. Fine. So, if it is completely filled, then those elements are not considered as true transition elements. They are known as pseudo transition elements. So, here in D block, you have zinc, and below that, you have cadmium, then you have mercury, then you have this copernicium. Okay, so this is in 3D, this is in 4D, this is in 5D, and this is in 6D. Okay, and all these have D10 configuration. That's why they are not regarded as transition elements. That means here in the options, A is correct because both the elements are not transition metals there. Next. Why do zinc, cadmium, and mercury exhibit exceptionally weak intermetallic bonding and low enthalpies of atomization compared to other transition metals? So, when you look at these elements, above I said they have completely filled d orbitals, right? So, when the d orbitals are completely filled, there are no unpaired electrons, so the bonding will be weaker. Okay, so if the bonding is weaker, it is easy to break their bond and hence they have low enthalpies of atomization. Okay, so it is all because of what? Completely filled d orbitals. So here B is the right answer. Okay, let us go to the next one. Scandium is a transition element, but zinc is not because. So here again we have to consider the definition of transition element. Okay, in case of scandium, 3D orbitals are partially filled, but in zinc these are completely filled. So that is the right answer. Next. Which of the following metal ions are diamagnetic? See, you will have diamagnetic metal ions when you have all paired electrons in d orbital, right? Or you have no electrons in d orbitals, right? Because the inner electrons all will be paired anyway. Yeah, so if you consider such case here, see, CO2 plus is D7 configuration, you will have unpaired electrons. Zn2 plus is D10. So here again you have Zn2 plus, which is D10. Scandium 3 plus, when you consider, scandium is actually 3D1 4s2 outer electronic configuration. So if you remove 3 electrons, it becomes D0. Right, that means this pair itself is diamagnetic. Okay, nickel 2 plus will have, then titanium also. Here nickel 2 plus will have unpaired electrons. Next. Yeah, match the following aspects with the respective metal. So here some aspects are given and metal is given. The metal which reveals a maximum number of oxidation states. So out of all these metals, we know that manganese gives the maximum oxidation states. Right, because as you move to the right, what happens? The number of unpaired electrons will increase, right, up to this manganese. Okay, and after that again, due to pairing, the unpaired electrons will decrease. So manganese shows maximum there. Then the metal, although placed in 3D block, is not considered as transition element. We know that it is zinc because it has completely filled d orbitals. Then the metal which does not exhibit variable oxidation state. See here, you know that d block elements exhibit variable oxidation states, right? But when you consider scandium, for scandium you have only one oxidation state, correct? So that is plus 3. Okay, so plus 3 oxidation state for scandium, only one, so it does not exhibit variable. That means 1 for this. Then the metal which in plus 1 oxidation state in aqueous solution undergoes disproportionation. Of course, that is for copper, because in case of copper, when you consider it in solution, for Cu2 plus, the hydration energy will be more. Okay, hydration energy is the one which gets released when any compound of copper gets dissolved in water. Okay, so if you consider the charges for Cu plus and Cu2 plus, Cu2 plus has higher positive charge, so it has higher amount of hydration energy, so it's energy released, okay, negative value. So when the energy released is more, that ion becomes more stable. Okay, so plus 1 oxidation state will undergo disproportionation. So 3, 4, 1 and 2, that is in option B. Okay, next, which is the densest metal on earth? So that is osmium. Okay, so here two densest metals present in D block is osmium and iridium. They have actually very less difference in their densities. Okay, when you consider in gram per centimeter cube, some 0.03 difference will be there between them, but osmium is highest. Okay, next comes iridium. Yeah, next. Which of the pair of metals has the exceptionally low melting point in their corresponding period? So, if you consider the melting points, you have to look at the curves given in NCRT. So, very beautifully given how the melting point varies. So, first, actually, what happens due to increase in number of unpaired electrons, the melting point will increase from scandium to this chromium. Okay, then what happens actually for manganese, it has to increase, but you can see a dip there like this. It will go down. Okay, so the curve will be shown like this. It will come down, then go up. Okay, like that. So this will be for minimum, that is manganese, that is not as expected, that is due to its internal structure, so there is an exception. Okay, so similarly for the element which is below manganese in 4D series, that is technetium. So for technetium also we observe the similar anomaly, okay, or exception. So here technetium and manganese, they give exceptionally low melting point. Okay, so B is the right answer here. Yes, next. Atomic size of gold is almost the same as that of silver due to. See, this is just like the case of zirconium and hafnium. Okay, so here also what happens when you consider silver and gold. This is 4D series, this is 5D series. Okay, so you know that due to lanthanide contraction, the size of gold is not increased as expected, so it becomes almost similar to silver. So the reason is lanthanide contraction. Okay, next. Which one of the following does not correctly represent the order of the property indicated against it? Yeah, so if we consider the first one, here titanium, vanadium, manganese, chromium is given, increasing second ionization enthalpy. So when you move across the period, actually in general ionization enthalpy will increase. So scandium, titanium, vanadium. Actually after that we have chromium. But here what happens when we talk about second ionization enthalpy? So that means chromium plus is already 3d5 and Mn plus is 3d5 and 4s1. That means this electron is very easy to remove because it attains d5. But here from d5 it is very difficult to remove the electron. So chromium becomes greater than manganese. So that is correct here. Okay. They ask which does not correctly represent. Yeah. Then option B here, titanium 3 plus, vanadium 3 plus, chromium 3 plus, manganese 3 plus, increasing magnetic moment. As the number of unpaired electrons increase, magnetic moment will increase. Right. So titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese. When you consider these, so here D2, S2 it is, 3D3, 4S2, this is 3D5, 4S1, and this is 3D5, 4S2. So when you consider their plus 3 ions, okay, so you have here D1, here you have D2, here you will get D3 and here D4. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, the unpaired electrons increase, so the magnetic moment will increase. Next, increasing number of oxidation states. Yes, of course, because titanium, here you have 4 electrons, here 5, then manganese when you consider you have 7, so number of oxidation states will increase. Next, when you consider the last one, it's given increasing melting points. So titanium, vanadium is given, chromium, and then manganese. So it's given that manganese has more than chromium. Okay. So theoretically it should have been correct, but we considered here in a previous question that there is an anomaly for manganese, right? So it has an exception, it goes below there in the curve. So it does not have higher melting point than chromium. So this is not correct. Okay. Next. Metals of the second and third transition series have greater enthalpies of atomization than the corresponding elements of the first series. This is an important factor in accounting for. See, as you move down actually 3D, 4D, 5D like this. So down the group you know that metallic nature will increase, right? That means metallic bonding is also increasing. Okay, the bond, metallic bond becomes stronger. Fine. And also what happens is here, you know, you come across lanthanide contraction and the size is not as high as expected. Right. So due to smaller sizes, what happens again that metallic bonding is more there. Okay. So the occurrence of much more frequent metal-metal bonding. That is the reason over there. So that's the right answer here. Okay, it's not lower melting points or reducing agents, lower density. It's not related to that. Fine. So these are the questions from D block elements, that is from the introductory part. So I hope you like this video. Please drop a like, subscribe, and hit the bell before you go. Thank you so much.